Listen, we're in the Champions League. We're in the Champions League. Finishing top 3. We're in the Champions League. Where's Liverpool? Not there. Where's Chelsea? Not there. Where's Spurs? Not there. Oh my God! You're not going blind.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. We are here for a Champions League press conference reaction. Yes, Bayern Munich versus Manchester United. Erik ten Hag has been speaking to the assembled media, not at Carrington, but at the Allianz Arena, the Allianz Stadium in Munich ahead of tomorrow's big Champions League clash. Yes, you just saw it once again. The Champions League intro is introing right now, featuring KG the comedian over the top of it. Is tremendous. Josh, as always deserves his flowers. So big up to Josh, big up to KG, and big up to you for tuning in. If you haven't already, click the like button on the way in. Plenty of stuff to talk about. Erik ten Hag had to answer a lot of questions in the press conference about a variety of topics: injuries, any regrets for not signing Harry Kane. Andre Onana was the player with him. Of course, when it comes to all of these European press conferences, there's always a player, and this time it was Andre Onana, Manchester United's brand new goalkeeper. The man who replaced David De Gea was sitting alongside his former Ajax manager, his Ajax head coach. It was a bit of an ex-Ajax special in Germany this evening. So actually, we've got the footage, we've got the questions, we've got the answers, and we've got your reaction as well. To big up to everyone that's tuning in right now. I see some people in the chat saying, hey, was this late? You put it back twice. Yes, we are late, but don't blame us. Blame Erik ten Hag. Blame Andre Onana. They were late. It was scheduled for, I think, 7:45 or half 6, maybe something like that. It didn't get started till like an hour later. It was really late. So it took a bit of a while for us to get all the footage and get ready for you guys, but here we are. So there you go, and let's get straight into the question. So the first question was about team news, suggesting about people that haven't travelled. Now, a lot of people haven't travelled because we've got a lot of injuries right now. The travelling squad was announced earlier today. I'll read it out to you actually because I do have it in front of me here. So you've got Bayern, Heaton, Onana and Vitek as the goalkeepers. Defenders, we've got Lindelof, Martinez, Reguilon, Dalot and Johnny Evans. Legitimately, we've got 5 defenders on 4 goalkeepers. That consists of a 21-man squad. It's not great. Midfielders, we've got Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Casemiro, Facundo Pellistri, Scott McTominay, Dan Gore, and Hannibal Mejbri. The forwards listed were Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Rasmus Højlund, Alejandro Garnacho, and Amari Forson listed in the United squad. So, obviously, some notable people that are not named in that squad. Harry Maguire was one of the surprising ones, considering he did train with Manchester United this morning, but didn't travel, reportedly going down with an injury. Raphael Varane, Mason Mount, they both did train this morning, but they haven't travelled. So the question was, what's going on when it comes to the injuries? Harry Maguire, what's the status with his injury? And when it comes to Mount and Varane, is it just a case of they're not ready to play right now? Here's what ten Hag had to say.
I think we discussed it in San Diego. So I don't think we have to repeat this debate. So we are happy with Rasmus.
Well, it's a great start, isn't it, actually, because that's not the right question, because I didn't get that footage through. I'll tell you the answer, and then I'll go back to that question. Damn. Disgrace cheat. I'll tell you what he said, then we'll move on to the Rasmus Højlund one. I was thinking, as soon as he said that, I thought, that's not what he said. That's not what he said for that one. That footage, I guess, just didn't come through. Nevertheless, we'll come back once again. So basically, when it comes to Harry Maguire, the question was he had some complaints. We'll have to see how bad it is. He finished training. He's not ready to travel. When it comes to both Mount and Varane, yes, it's a case of they're just not ready right now. Then the question was, on the injury front, is that a concern that you have so many injuries this early into the season? He said, of course it's a concern, but that's why we added to the squad with depth. The squad can deal with it. Right. Now, this definitely is the question that I was looking for. I'm telling you, honestly, you know me. Bayern Munich, they've signed Harry Kane. Obviously, we've signed Rasmus Højlund. What were your thoughts on signing potential over current ability? Was that the right decision? And this is what ten Hag had to say. And this definitely is the right response.
I think we discussed it in San Diego. So I don't think we have to repeat this debate. So we are happy with Rasmus. So obviously, first games he was injured. He played now Arsenal. He had now a start. So now, of course, we have to integrate him in the team. But you can see, yes, he's a big talent, and he will contribute to our game. We are quite convinced of that.
So no regrets about not signing Harry Kane?
No.
Very, very sharp there, that bit at the end as well, wasn't it? Any regrets about not signing Harry Kane? No. And to be honest, what's he going to say? What's he going to say when it comes to all that? Any regrets about not signing Harry Kane? Yeah, I mean, Rasmus, I didn't even want him. It was just going to be Rasmus and Harry, but yeah, massive regrets. And I hate this job, and I want to quit. I hate the owners. Like, what's he going to say? So, of course, if anything, he answered it actually very well in that it was very quick. If he'd had left, I mean, any element of a pause involved in all of that, then it would have been... Have you seen how they've been analysing Pep Guardiola's laugh about us? When Pep Guardiola's talking about teams that are finding their rhythm or have started slowly, and he was talking about teams getting up to pace, and then someone said, well, Manchester United, and he went, and then said, yeah, Man United. And everyone's going, Pep Guardiola laughed about United, it's terrible. If Erik ten Hag, when asked about any regrets of signing Harry Kane, had spent, I mean, honestly, again, a fraction of a second by going, no. You know, if he'd have hesitated, they'd go, oh, he meant it. He does have regrets. So what's he going to say? I mean, it's a quite silly question, to be honest, but I guess it's ones they have to ask because they want to say that sometimes you're planting the seeds for the story, aren't you? You're planting the seeds for the story tomorrow. When Harry Kane scores 2 goals or a hat-trick against us at the Allianz tomorrow, then obviously social media is then full of no regrets, egg on your face. But what's he to say in that point? So, I didn't look too much into that. As far as being asked about Rasmus Højlund and, you know, having buying potential over current ability, again, what's he going to say in that instance? From what we've seen so far of Rasmus Højlund, it's promising, obviously, and you have bought potential. He's 20, and he hasn't played a ton of senior games and scored a ton of senior goals, but from the minutes and the few minutes that he's had for us so far, looks promising. He's a big unit, makes those runs. I like his movement in the box. I like his ability to hold the ball up. He clearly is not the finished article. A couple of times against Brighton, you saw a couple of, poor touches. Maybe that sort of close control wasn't at its best in that game, but you're buying a rough diamond, and the idea is to polish him up a little bit, isn't it? So Erik ten Hag's very confident that he's going to contribute, says he's a big talent. And as I mentioned, what's he going to say? I know there's been a lot of stories today regarding the pursuit of Harry Kane and how that didn't happen for United this summer. Reportedly, I think it was Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic writing that Erik ten Hag wanted United to make an offer, and it was really Joel Glazer and Richard Arnold and John Murtough that said that they didn't think it was a good use of the resources at their disposal, considering Harry Kane's age. Now, what I will say about that is, again, and this is something that KG and myself spoke about this morning on the Morning View, and it's the revisionist history from some people, because I was saying throughout the summer, right? You know me, I was saying, go get Harry Kane, whatever it takes, go get him. I don't care. Even if it was to the detriment of getting other signings, go get Harry Kane, because there's nobody like him in the world for me. He's the best number 9, I think, in the world at the moment. His ability to score goals, all kind of goals, link-up play, and it's not even English bias. He's just ridiculous. He is an outrageous talent. He is superb. He is world-class. The thing that's been holding him back for years is that he plays for Spurs, and Spurs don't do anything. But he is world-class. And when I would say that in the summer, I would get responses from people that would say to me, Owen, no, he's a 30-year-old. You can't spend that money on a 30-year-old. Don't be so stupid. There's no resale value on a Harry Kane. Why would you do that? Etc., etc., etc. So when I saw the reports come out today, I was assuming that we would see this reaction from a lot of people that was, well, that's a good decision then, actually, because I was saying something similar in the summer. No, they were saying the opposite. This is the problem. These people are fools. I went, wait a minute. Loads of people were saying to me in the summer, no, he's 30, don't go and get him because it's a waste of money. And now they're going, why didn't we go and get him? It's funny how that works out, isn't it? And again, that's when it goes back into revisionist history. I look at that and I'm really frustrated because I go, man, he wanted it, apparently. He wanted that move. and pay what it's cost. Harry Kane's world class. But they didn't think that was the right route to go. I think they were hoping that he would hold out at Spurs for another year and they'd get him on a free next year. By all accounts, he wanted guarantees that move was definitely going to happen. And then I think once the Bayern Munich move really started to gather pace, he went, well, they're paying the money. Spurs are going to accept it. I've got a choice to make and I'm going to go. And that's what happened. But I could not, well, I can because social media doesn't surprise me nowadays, but I could not believe some of the people I was seeing going, I can't believe we didn't do it. I was like, excuse me? It wasn't even that long ago that people were getting angry saying, hey, Stu, what are we doing? We've got to go for younger players. We've got to go for this player, that player. And now suddenly we should have got him. Funny how that works out, isn't it? Very funny how that works out. Next question, I hope so anyway, was about Erik ten Hag's history of Bayern Munich because he coached the second team for several years. He was asked, does that have an influence on how you work at United and what's your connection like with Bayern Munich? Here's what he said.
These were great years for me. I really so enjoyed it here, and I like the mentality from Bayern, the region Bayern, as well as especially the club. So we had great years. First year especially, we were champion, but then unlucky we were when that we didn't promote it, and I never forget that. But it was also a good experience you get as a manager, as a coach. So for me it was a very good experience to be here, and it was enjoyable.
So he enjoyed his time at Bayern Munich. People forget that they coached the second team for Bayern Munich. That was during the Pep era, I believe. So he's got a relationship with the club. He understands the clubs. I mean, he'll know the atmosphere, certainly, and you would hope that would be a positive for Manchester United tomorrow. That's one of my biggest concerns, really, is actually the ability for United to handle that atmosphere, because historically, just we haven't handled it very well, unfortunately, when it comes to those big atmospheres. I think Sevilla and things like that, and we've got to weather that storm early on. And hopefully, because of his experience of being at Bayern Munich, he can tell them what to expect. But I get the impression that sometimes he tells them a lot of things to expect, and sometimes then things happen on the pitch, and he goes, well, that's not what we talked about. That's not what what I told you to do. That's not how I told you to react. So that's something I'm very, very, very curious about, it must be said. In the game tomorrow, certainly. But there you go. Let's have a look. We got a super chat already here from Kevin. Says, damn, that intro slaps hard. Yes. What I will do, actually, because I know a lot of people will probably enjoy it, and let's be honest, who knows how often we're going to be able to play it this season. What I will do is when we wrap things up, I'll play the intro into the end screen as well. We'll play it twice because it is that good. It's that good that it deserves to be played twice. So that's indeed what we will do. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Next question was from Adam from TUS. Big up, Adam. You know me whenever it comes to these press conference reactions or these press conference streams. If I know the journalist, I mean, sometimes it's very difficult to make out who the journalist is. But if it's any other fan channel in there, I don't care who it is, whether it's United Stand, whether it's Stretford Paddock, whether it's anyone else in the future that ends up in there, I will always shout them out, because think how far all of us have come in just a short period of time. This is Champions League. This is big boy stuff, right? This is big stuff to be represented, to have a fan's voice inside a press conference for a Champions League game like Bayern Munich, Manchester United. That's a big deal. So if it's anyone that's ever in there, whether it's Adam, whether it's Beth, whether it's Flex, whether it's KG, whether it's Jay, whether it's Adam, whether it's whoever from any of the fan channels, I'll always shout them out, because I think that's the right thing to do. Anyway, he asked a question to Andre Onana, who, of course, was the player sitting alongside Erik ten Hag. And it was a question about the expectation of replacing De Gea. How has he found that? How has he found the reaction from settling in at Manchester United and things of that nature? Here's what Onana had to say.
Hi. Well, I'm very passionate player. And I demand a lot for my players and my defenders. But like I always said, we are in this together. Being part of this big club is something great. Manchester United is an amazing club. It's huge. I'm happy to be here. Replace David is not something easy. I'm trying to do my best. Of course, the start of the season is not what we want, but we better days will come, the situation will turn, and I'm very confident. I know everything will be all right.
Everything will be all right, says Andre Onana. Says he's a very passionate player, demands a lot from the players. Hold that thought, because he was asked about how much he demands from the players and things like that further on. And look, it is difficult. I mean, there was a question put to Flex by Flex to Onana later on, and we'll get to that. And look, the thing is as well, when you've got someone that's been in there such a long period of time, like David De Gea, you're always going to be compared to him. Strengths, weaknesses, we've already seen it. And particularly because David De Gea, towards the end of his tenure, was a lightning rod of people that wanted just to move on. Some people wanted him to stay. People still aren't over that whole thing. And also, part of it too is that people point to, obviously, David De Gea winning the Golden Glove situation as well. So there's always going to be comparison. There's always going to be, we conceded more goals, clean sheets and stuff like that as well. So that's part of it too. But as he said, he's happy to be here. He acknowledges, look, replacing De Gea ain't easy. You know, it's not as if he's come in and gone, what was that bum doing or anything like that. No, he didn't say that. So, it was a very complimentary answer from Andre Onana. The next question from Adam was to Erik ten Hag, and it was about the style of play. That's been a critique of recent days, really, with Erik ten Hag, hasn't it, as well, saying when the last time you were in the Champions League with Ajax, a lot of people complimented your style of play. Some have critiqued the style of play so far this season. Why do you think that is? Is that because of injuries? Is that because of other things? Like, what is the reason why that is happening? And what do you think of that critique? Here's what Ten Hag had to say in response to that question.
One thing is true. I think from the start last season, I think I almost never started with the best. I would say, in my opinion, the best start 11, and it was always something like an injury. So, but you have to deal with it, and I think we always got the results in, apart from the period where we are now. So, and that is football, and there's always part. And I have the experience in the past. I managed it in the past. It's not always going up. And you have to deal with it, and it's also I like these situations because now we have to handle it, and we have to manage this, and so you have to know what to do, and that is focusing on the process.
So he says he hasn't been able to play his strongest 11 since he's basically come into the club, and maybe that's partially why the style of play has taken a bit of a hit to that. Do I believe that? Do you believe that? What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on if that's the reason why he hasn't been able to get his style of play across? Look, it's part of it. It's part of it because you always want to have continuity. But look, and he even says this later on in the press conference, injuries are part of football. Everyone has injuries, yeah? And other managers have had injuries, other managers have had disruptions, and they've been able to get across their style of play, just as well. They've been able to get across their principles just as well. So I lean into more that's an excuse. I think maybe a better explanation to it is that some of the players that he inherited can't do it. They cannot do it. And he realized that very quickly last season. And he realized the cutthroat environment that he is in at Manchester United. And he realized, look, I can try, and this is last season, I can try and implement the way I want to play football, my style, my philosophy on these players. If I do that, I will be out of a job by Christmas. I might be out of a job before then because these guys can't do it. And what I need and what you need at Manchester United is results. So he compromised last season. And switched to kind of a hybrid style of what he wanted to do, mixed with a hybrid of what managers had done at the past in Manchester United. And as I said, he compromised. And I think this season, his hope was with more players going out the door and him bringing more of his own players in, he would be able to play his style the way he wants to play. The problem is he's almost starting again from zero. And still, there's an argument to be made. Can some of these players even do it? And I think he might be looking at it now with the injuries, because the injuries do play a part in it at the moment. I mean, we are so hamstrung with injuries, it's ridiculous. And that's not a pun on like Wan-Bissaka and Mason Mount having hamstring problems. But if you think about it from a defensive point of view, arguably 3/4 of our best defence are not available right now. Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, Wan-Bissaka. Arguably, you could say is our best back four. Wan-Bissaka injured. Varane, he's coming back, but he's not available tomorrow. And Luke Shaw injured. So that's part of it in terms of playing out from the back. He's got all of these midfielders that are currently out of action at the moment as well. And then people like Rasmus Højlund, it took a while for him to come in because he was injured too. And then the players on the right-hand side, both of them aren't available for differing reasons. So obviously the absences play a part of that. But now he's got to sort of, we're going into tomorrow for the game tomorrow saying he's got to compromise again, realistically. That's what he's got to do tomorrow, because he has to, if he goes at the Allianz against Bayern Munich and we try and play, proper free-flowing football, we'll get absolutely destroyed. We just will. We will. The way to win tomorrow is to go back to it and play on the counter-attack, have a low block, try and hit him on the break and see what happens. So he may have to compromise again. He may be hoping, and this is kind of my thought of not including Mason Mount, not including Varane, that let's just get through the game tomorrow, and then when we play Burnley at the weekend, we get those players back. That's when, again, we go back to how I want us to play, in the mind's eye, what I'm looking for United to do. I think that might be his sort of direction that he's looking for at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see. Red Baron with the super chat says, Graham Brighton, easy for me to say, Brighton made Graham Potter look good. The foundation isn't just transfers, it's the mission statement, the environment and the strategy of the club. Well, there's no doubt about it, isn't there, that and this is something we also, I think, as fans have to realise, and KG made a really good point about it this morning. You think, go back to this time last year, people were raving about Graham Potter. What a great manager he is, what a great coach he is. Went to Chelsea, flopped miserably. And we have to be wary of sort of the shiny new toy syndrome. And also, we have to be wary of, as Red Baron mentions there, that the way that this football club operates is so bad, like in comparison, not even just in comparison to sort of top 6, top 5, top 4 clubs. We're talking in comparison just to Premier League clubs, in general. It's not run well. There was a report today about, an emergency meeting, a no-holds-barred meeting between Richard Arnold and Manchester United staff because of complaints. Obviously, there's, leaks coming out of the dressing room and the club all the time. There's clearly disharmony with a lot of different things. And that's always difficult for the manager to do. And then once it gets to match day, to block out all that noise, it's really tough. And I don't think that culture realistically is going to change until we have new owners. And it does kind of feel like at points, isn't it, of just like, let's just get through it until that's resolved. I don't know if I really buy in to all of that chat and talk about, I'm hearing that things are going to be happening in the next couple of weeks, or get through September and by October, November, we might hear stuff. I will believe it when I see it. The boy has cried wolf so many times at this point when it comes to the Manchester United takeover. Who knows what to believe, frankly. But it is there is a cultural problem at United. There's no doubt about that, certainly. Next question was about Bayern Munich and their start to the season as well. Something that we kind of had spoken about recently over the last few days. Now, Bayern have started the season fairly well. Obviously, they lost. They got really dominated in the Super Cup against RB Leipzig. They completely outplayed. In the last game of the weekend, actually it was on Friday, they conceded 2 against Leverkusen, drew at home. So does that give you room for optimism? Are there ways that you can exploit Bayern? They've got very good attacking players, but will they give you chances? Here's what Ten Hag had to say.
I think they are, as you say, they have very attractive players, very skillful. You can't be unfocused for 1 second, 1 split of second, because they so much individual class they have. But as you say, they leave you also sometimes spaces. But we are very respectful, and we know Bayern, especially in Champions League, home, especially group stage, they are very strong. But as you say, we're looking forward because we like the challenge, and also we trust ourselves.
We trust ourselves, and we like the challenge. They do have very attractive players. No, it is true. Bayern Munich will give us chances. They will. I still have confidence of that tomorrow, having watched them a couple of times this season. And I didn't take too much stock in watching them in that Super Cup game because, first game of the season. They didn't have Harry Kane starting that day. They didn't have Kim Min-jae starting that day. So I thought, well, I'll wait and see. And I did see them play Bayer Leverkusen, and I'm not naive enough just to be like, wow, if Bayer Leverkusen can score twice against them at home, then definitely we can. Because look, Bayer Leverkusen are doing very, very well. Xabi Alonso is an excellent coach, a real excellent coach, and I think they deserved more watching that game. I mean, 2-2 was really a disservice to Bayer Leverkusen actually, because they missed so many chances. So I am optimistic of they will give us chances, and I said before, I do think we'll score tomorrow. But it's the attacking players that they have, honestly, as well. It's the, whether it is Harry Kane, Sane, whoever, you can pick out a multitude of fantastic players that they have. That's going to be really difficult. But Ten Hag says we like the challenge, and indeed, it's going to be a challenge, no doubt about that. How many likes are we currently on at the moment? We're on 145 likes. We've got over 750 people watching. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. As Mike says, smash the like button and join the UV family. Yes, indeed. So be sure to do that as well. What was the next question? So after that room for optimism, perhaps the next question was about the injuries. And the suggestion is, look, you've got a big squad, but you've got 9 players out through injury. Technically, it's 11 absences, including Sancho and Antony, but they're not injured, of course. Important players out of action as well. And the question was put to Ten Hag, can you ask your doctors why that is the case? Why are these injuries happening? And Ten Hag had actually quite an interesting answer. Here was Ten Hag's response.
I don't know if we have to go to the doctors or physios because they are dealing with the problems. And first of all, injuries always coming in top football because we are living on the edge, and when you are living on the edge, the injuries will coming up, and of course we analyze why things happens, but also we have to deal with the facts, and it's always about the players who are available, and that's a strong side. And what we can line up, and we have to get the best out of it, and we're focusing on that, and to bring up tomorrow again a good team, make the next step, integrating Rasmus Højlund, integrating Reguilón, so 2 new players in our way of play, and we are here to get a result.
We are here to get a result, says Erik ten Hag. It's interesting that he mentions that, that it's not really to consult the doctors. He says that they're always dealing with problems. And this was something that I kind of mentioned this morning, actually, as well, that the doctors are more treating the issues or anything like that. I think sometimes we see these reports of this new Arsenal doctor coming in, these injuries are going to stop. I don't know. I think part of it, is the fallout of last year. We played so many games last season that eventually that catches up to you. Some players didn't get all that much of a rest over the summer as well. And also, we spoke earlier on about the different style of play that Erik ten Hag is looking for United to play this season. And it's a bit like when Jurgen Klopp, I think, first came in, when suddenly the players started to break down because they weren't used to, that. They weren't, used to that, style of play or that intensity. But then the problem is, you watch United play, they're hardly playing intense. We saw, Brighton have posted that video to death about their 30 passes before their goal against us. And United were basically jogging at that point, realistically. So, I don't know what you put it down to. What do you put it down to? Do you put it down to luck a little bit? Do you put it down to training, probably part of it? Do you put it down to, again, the sort of recovery or sports science part of it? Probably. It's a multitude of factors. It's never just one thing, certainly. But clearly, there is an issue. Clearly, there is a problem involved in all of that. And again, I don't know if it's just the players not used to some of the demands. I'm not sure. But clearly, there's a problem. And clearly, I'd be stunned if Man United and Erik ten Hag, considering how much of a details guy allegedly Erik ten Hag is, I'd be stunned if he wasn't looking into that, or he was, I don't know. We're just, it's a bit of bad luck. Luck's part of it, but I don't think it's everything certainly involved in that as well. Next question was, what was it about? This was an interesting one. This one was to Andre Onana, and this one was about the Maguire incident, what is being referred to as the Maguire incident. And really, it's Jamie Carragher has made a big deal out of this. And they tried to make a big deal out of this at the time when it happened on preseason. So if you're not familiar about this, during Onana's debut, the game in Vegas, was that against Real Madrid? I think that was against Real Madrid, the one in Vegas. There was an incident whereby I think Maguire had made a mistake, Andre Onana had made a save, and Onana comes out, screams at him. Now, for anyone, I thought, that had been watching football for not that long, they would have realised that that is so par for the course. That is so commonplace in football matches of the goalkeeper screaming at the defenders, they shout at them if they make a mistake or if they're unhappy. I mean, it's been done for so long. I mean, they'd be horrified if they saw Peter Schmeichel in the 1990s having a go at his defenders, because that's what he did. But they made it into a big deal. How dare this guy, this new signing, come in and shout at Harry Maguire, who used to be the captain, even though Jamie Carragher in his article was not researched very well, because he said Maguire was still the captain at the time when he had been stripped several weeks prior, because why would you have him be the captain on pre-season tour and then strip him before the start of the season? That would be stupid. So that didn't happen. But Jamie Carragher's tried to play up like Onana was trying to play to the gallery and try and win fans over, and that's what he was trying to do. Like it was this big calculated stunt to win people over, win the fan base over. It was just pure nonsense. Absolute pure nonsense. It's just what happens in football sometimes. And Onana was asked about this in the press conference. I'm glad he was asked about it because he can just say it's stupid. He said he was asked about, a lot's been made of it. Are you surprised how much is being made of this incident? Here's what Onana had to say for himself.
No, Harry is a very good guy. I have a great relationship with him. I even spoke with him this morning before we take off to Munich. And what happened there, I already explained straight away after the game. I don't think we have to give importance to what happened, because we are big guys, and what happened in the pitch stays in the pitch, and with Harry I have a great relationship.
We're big guys. What happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. Exactly. I mean, I don't know about you, right? If you've played football, even if you haven't, it's always getting arguments on the pitch all the time. And certainly my mindset always was exactly what he said. What happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. You go at each other after the game. You go, oh yeah, sorry about that, or you don't even think about it. You don't even think about it. And I thought it's a perfect answer. He speaks really well. Look, we're big boys here. Come on. What happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. Football. It's an elite level sport. If someone makes a mistake, I don't think someone's doing what they should be doing. It's his responsibility as a goalkeeper to organise the defence. And this is the thing too, and this is why it's so, and to be honest, I don't think this was coming from United fans. It was coming from outside United, in fairness. But Jamie Carragher knows that as well. He's a defender. How often has he had screamer matches with the goalkeeper? How often has he had with goalkeepers behind like Pepe Reina or whoever screaming at him and him screaming back? Because that's what happens in football matches. So my thought was, when he was writing and penning that article, it was just, hey, Man United aren't playing well. We need to write something about Man United. Who do you want to go in on? Let's go in on Andre Onana. Because I guess the point at that period of time was Harry Maguire was getting criticism, and has the criticism gone too far? And some of that criticism on Harry Maguire has gone too far. I don't think that it's a competition he's had at the worst ever. Ask David Beckham coming back from the 98 World Cup when people had effigies of him that they were doing all things to. But the idea that Andre Onana had singled out Harry Maguire and was bullying him on the pitch was just nonsense. I mean, pure nonsense. And I think Onana, he didn't even sort of say it's ridiculous that they're still going on about it. He just went, no, it's just, we're big boys. What happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. It's not a big deal. It happens. Harry's a good guy. I spoke with him earlier on. We spoke after the game. It's not a problem. So I think he answered that very, very well. Savni is the latest member of the UV's Members Club. Welcome to you. You can join the UV Members Club. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. You can call in as well to the full-time view. If you're a member, you get that perk, that privilege. So you can talk to me tomorrow after the game. Red Baron says, to be fair, Owen, I can't imagine you shouting at anyone. LOL. Oh, I used to be a shouter. Used to always be a shouter. You know what I mean? People can be different when it comes to the pitch. Once you start playing the game, different personality comes over you. You want to win. That competitive nature comes out as well. Yeah. And then again afterwards, even when I'd have those arguments, the worst thing you can do, and this is a bit of advice actually, if you're a young person playing football, the worst thing you can ever do is whenever you have an argument with someone on the pitch, teammate or otherwise, is take it personal. Never take it personal, because most of the time it really isn't. Football does weird things to people when they're playing. The desire to win does weird things to people. It changes their personality. I mean, obviously, look, there's a line. You don't want to cross it. And if they do cross it, then you can really take it personally. But a lot of the times it's just, it's nothing to take serious. The next question was to Erik ten Hag, and the question was put to him since the weekend, a negative result. Did you feel that there was a need to have a reset with the squad or anything like that? And Ten Hag was bullish in his response about that.
No, I don't feel that we need a reset. Absolutely not. And we are in a process. And what you see is that we, in parts of game, play very good. But then also part of games, we play below our levels. And so what we have to demand is be consistent. And so we have to step up in certain levels all the time for 90 plus minutes. And that is a demand on us.
Got a bit of a giggle, it did. That got a bit of a giggle from not only Andre Onana, but also Flex. I didn't know that was coming, by the way. But got a bit of a giggle. See, there you go. Nothing too serious. Flex enjoyed that, and so did Andre Onana as well. As far as do we need a bit of a reset? No. I mean, like, he's saying that it's a process. Parts of the game we played good, and we did. He did, and I liked that at the end of it. He does say, Ten Hag, that obviously parts of the game we played well, and this is, I guess, what people wanted, because they were saying that he was sounding like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently. He's being delusional in his positivity, and he's lying when he comes out and says we played well after the game. He literally says it there. He goes, parts of the game we played well. Parts of the game, we were well below our levels, and we have to step up in certain levels for 90 plus minutes. And that's what we've been saying here recently, isn't it, guys? That we can come on here and we can, after the game, talk about we played well for 15 minutes. We played well for 20 minutes. We had a good sort of 30 to kick off the game. That's not enough. Football games aren't competed over 20, 25 or 30 minutes. They're not. It's 90 plus. I mean, nowadays, nearly like 100 or something like that. So just because we played well for 20 minutes gives us no right to win a football match. It doesn't. And that's what Erik ten Hag is saying there. We played well at certain points, which we did against Brighton earlier on, but also at the same time, we were well below it for the majority of the game. And we have to step up. And that's what we have to do. And I agree, certainly, with what Erik ten Hag was saying there as well. I believe we've got some more super chats. Let me check this out. Here we go. Owen, a question. If a player gets injured and the money that is spent on his recovery, like rehab, therapy, etc., is it taken out of the wage bill or the club pays it? I mean, the club always pay it. You won't get docked your wages or anything like that. I mean, you might not get, some bonuses associated with playing, of course. Some people have appearance fees, goal scoring fees, or just being named on the bench. Sometimes they can get a little bonus for being named on the bench. So obviously you wouldn't get that, but you still get your weekly salary and stuff like that. It doesn't come out of their wages. They'll get it. The club will pay that, cover that, and all that kind of stuff. Right, let's get to Flex's question. Yes, Journo Fleck was at the Allianz Arena and asked Erik ten Hag and Andre Onana a question. First, he asked, and this was something actually, by the way, this is why it's important to watch all of the shows, the Morning View, because these were questions that we spoke about the other day. We talk about, this is incredible, right? We speak about it here on the shows. We go, is this a question you'd like to hear? Is this like a question you'd like to hear answered? And it gets asked in the press conference. Fantastic. So the first question was to Andre Onana, saying, you're renowned from playing out from the back. Is it important to show that you're more than that, to show that your shot-stopping ability is better than what people are saying it is? And then the other question, which was put to Erik ten Hag, was about Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford. A lot of criticism about Marcus Rashford being greedy, being selfish, not being able to find Rasmus Højlund. So Flex asked Ten Hag, is this something you've discussed with him? Is this something that you're looking for? Are you hoping that connection is going to build? Some really interesting answers. First, from Andre Onana.
Andre, we know that you're renowned for playing out from the back. You're very comfortable on the ball as a goalkeeper. How important is it for you to show that you're more than that, though? You are a good shot stopper. You are good at claiming crosses. You can command the box. Do you find that frustrating? And do you feel that you also need to prove that you're not just good with your feet, you're more than that?
Well, I don't think I'm here because I'm only good with my feet. Because my history speaks for me, but like I always say, the most important thing is the team. You know, we are here to win, and I have to adapt myself with the team. Now, if the team need me to be good with the feet, I will be good with the feet. If we are playing in low block or we are playing high, depend on the situation. No, I'm a goalkeeper first, so I have to save balls. That's why I'm here, and we all have to step up. Like I said in the beginning, we didn't start well the season, but I'm very confident everything will get right. And I'm excited, for tomorrow. It's an important game for us. It's a key game. And when I see how the team is working, how we have been working this week, I'm very confident and I'm very excited.
Just a quick one for Erica on Marcus. As we have Rasmus now, we know Marcus can make moments out of anything. Fantastic goal scoring return last year. Have you had any conversations with him about how he maybe needs to transform his game now we do have someone like Rasmus and the type of service that Rasmus might need?
Yes, absolutely. And that how can the two can take benefit from each other, but they have to know each other, and so that process just started, and but at the same time we need results, and so that has to go hand in hand. But we learn from every training and we learn from every game, and of course we reflect togetherness, and of course we lead that as a coaching staff, but also we have seen that Rasmus and Resi together they are talking how they can take benefit from each other. You can see that discussion, that interaction on the pitch is going on, and that's a good sign. And I'm sure they will get that connection. I think the connection is already there, but I think they will get the routines in.
Now, of course, I'm very biased. You know me, I'm very biased. Team UV, Team Fleck, and all that kind of stuff. But good questions, yeah? Very, very solid questions by Flex in that press conference. Let's start off with the first one. The first one with Andre Onana. He says it himself. He says, a goalkeeper, first of all, you have to save balls, is what he says. And he says that all of us have to step up. He says, I'm not just here because I'm good with my feet. The most important thing is that the team wins. And it depends on the situation. It depends on the tactic, because sometimes you're not going to be doing too much of your feet. You need to be doing more of your hands. So don't think that Andre Onana is standing there, with the ball at his feet or with the ball in his hands or whatever, thinking I'm only here because I'm a good distributor. He's well aware that he needs to be saving shots, and he didn't really speak about whether he was happy or not with his own performance. But one thing that must be said about Andre Onana, and this is just my sort of general impression, having watched him in that press conference, the guy is as cool as a cucumber. I mean, he just oozes calmness. I mean, you can see why that it doesn't bother him when there's nearly 80,000 people worried about if he's going to pass the ball to an attacker or anything like that. He don't care, at all. And it's the same as if he's in a room full of journalists or anything like that. No problem. I'm not bothered at all. Fine. So he oozes class, oozes charisma, certainly. And interesting, as I mentioned, that he speaks about, look, it's about saving shots as well. And that will probably come back to bite him. Next question was a really good one. If anything, I think it might be one of the better questions of the entire press conference. And again, I know I'm biased, but when it comes to Marcus Rashford and adapting his game to play alongside Rasmus Højlund, to service Rasmus Højlund, find him in the box, have assists, of course, last season, the best goal scoring season of Marcus Rashford's career. But this season, does Erik ten Hag want to see more? Does he want to see more assists from Rashford? And it was really interesting, actually, what he said when he was saying, look, we have had conversations about that, about how the two can benefit each other. And obviously the process is just started, but at the same time, we can't wait too long. And it's kind of an interesting insight into him having those conversations with both players, saying, look, you need to find each other quick. It's not as if I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway because you've got to get used to playing with each other, but good players can play with each other, no problem, no bother. And we need results quickly. It must go hand in hand. And as a coaching staff, we have to be together. So as a playing squad and as a team, we need to be together as well. They're already talking They're already trying to build up that chemistry, according to Ten Hag, which again is important. He's sure the connection will get there. He's already starting to see it, but he thinks it will get better and it will get more. And look, we did see flashes, very, very brief flashes at the weekend. Obviously, the goal that Højlund scored that was chalked off. There was a connection there. There was a ball into the box from Rashford, nearly found him there. But there needs to be more. And it's good to know, certainly, that Erik ten Hag's well aware of that. And a bit of a peek behind the curtain here when it comes to these press conferences. Erik ten Hag can give you a variety of different responses. If he doesn't like the question most of the time, or if it's just dull and he's not interested, he won't give you a long answer. Yes, no, and of course it's clear, something like that. If he likes the question, or if he feels like it's a legitimate, valid question, he'll give you a legitimate, valid answer. And I think, in fairness, that's what he did there for that one, because he knows. He knows. Erik ten Hag's the tactics man. So I think that was a good question, a good response, and interesting to know what you guys think about it as well. Finally, the final question was to Andre Onana. Wasn't so much related to the game tomorrow, but about his international future. Of course, Onana has since returned to the Cameroon squad after falling out with the manager during the 2022 World Cup, leaving during the competition, retiring. He played in the game the other day. They have qualified for AFCON. So the question was, what's your international future looking like as well? What's the international future looking like for Andre Onana? Are you going to be going? Are you still retired? What's the situation? And Onana was pretty coy about his international future, it must be said.
If I'm called up, we don't know if I'm going to be called up, so we cannot speak about things we don't know. Let's see what's going to happen in the next month, but we are here to play against Munich. Important game for us is the most important thing, so all the focus is in the game from tomorrow.
Doesn't really matter, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't really matter. And that's what he's sort of saying. Look, here to talk about Bayern Munich. It's a question of circumstance, isn't it, realistically? It's a question of circumstance. It's a question of we've got Onana in the room, so we'll ask him, because when are we going to talk to him again? So we'll ask him about his international future. But as he's saying, look, I don't know. If I'm called up, I'll see what happens. He is going to be called up. I mean, make no mistake. He's not going to be dropped or anything like that. But he's going to most likely go out in January, isn't he, to AFCON, which as he should do. I like I said a million times before, I remember the last AFCON tournament, there were journalists actively asking these players, are you going to go in January? Is that what you're considering? Well, yeah. I mean, represent your country. So, of course you're going to go. So, and it must be said, one of the things that I did take away from this whole press conference, as I mentioned before, is just the calmness, the composure, the coolness. There's Andre Onana. He was a real good speaker, I thought, in that as well. And I thought overall it was a good press conference. Handled it well. How do I feel about tomorrow? Still, I'm not confident, it must be said, about tomorrow. But you got to believe, as they say, right? Got to believe. No problem. Believe. So here's hoping that we can get something out of it tomorrow. But either way, I will say, that of the result tomorrow, we must remember and remind ourselves it is the opening game of the group stage. So our Champions League tenure and our Champions League campaign is not determined by tomorrow's game. It's not. Our whole season is not determined by tomorrow's game. It's not. And you could say, Owen, you're just setting yourself up. You're trying to sort of soften the blow. Maybe I am, but I'm also trying to be realistic as well. So we have to consider that too, certainly. Anyway, guys, look, I'm out of here. I think I'm caught up with Super Chats, actually. Let me double check that. I want to make sure. Yeah, I am caught up with all the Super Chats. How many likes are we currently on? 224. There's nearly 800 people watching. If you haven't already, click the like button. Or if you're watching after the fact, because I do know a lot of people watch these press conference reaction streams after the fact. There's Champions League on at the moment and all that kind of stuff. So if you're watching after the fact, click the like button. If you've made it all the way through to the end of the video, be sure to do that. But before I am out of here, before we go into the end card, the end screen, we're going to play the intro once again. I can feel it. I can feel the desire. We've got to manifest this victory, and we're going to do it by starting with the Champions League theme for this season. Let's click this and then go into the end card. I'm out of here. Have a good one. Peace.
Listen, we're in the Champions League. We're in the Champions League. Finishing top 3. We're in the Champions League. Where's Liverpool? Not there. Where's Chelsea? Not there. Where's Spurs? Not there. Oh my God!